Yeah.
Boom! Hello, hello, and welcome to the Rock Metal Podcast. I'm your host, John Harris. Today on the Rock Metal Podcast, we have Carnage Alpha, and on my right-hand side over here is my right-hand man, Gabriel, who's going to be our assistant engineer.
We have some windows that we need to breathe the darkness in.
That's right. So, Carnage Alpha's got a new album that was released at the time of recording just a couple of days ago, but by the time everybody out in the internet world is going to be hearing this, but probably about a month ago. But November 27th via Wormhole Death called From There to Oblivion. Right now I'm being joined by Fred to share some more information about this amazing record, what the boys have been up to. So Fred, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Absolutely great to have you on. Now, what an incredible year. I guess my first question is, was the plan always to release this record at the end of the year, or because of the way things have gone with coronavirus, was the record pushed out?
To be honest, before May this year, Carnage Alpha didn't really exist. So everything has gone quite fast, to be honest. So we just tried, we created the songs and just wanted to get the album out, well, as soon as it was done. And, well, like you said, it just landed on this date and this month. There was no plan for it, to be honest.
Okay. Now, that was an incredible statement, because how many bands out there have been going for years before they finally release something, and you guys didn't even exist. And then, I don't know, you guys got Chinese food one night, popped open your fortune cookie, and it said, start a band, and then it had lottery numbers, and...
Yeah, well, pretty much. To be honest, we are both in another band together, and then we just, we wanted to create something like a little bit different, and then we started churning out songs, and it worked so well. Everything flows so well, and here we are.
Yeah. Okay, if you don't mind, maybe take us through a little bit more of that. Were these songs that you guys had written completely fresh? They're brand new? Or are they ideas that have been kicking around and you guys thought these deserve a new, I don't know, moniker? And so then Carnage Alpha was created to suit the songs that you guys had.
No, actually everything is new from scratch. There was nothing from the beginning. It was just, I told Matthias that I'm like, I have an idea and you want to try something, and well, then we just started creating, and everything flows so well together. So he's a multi-instrumental, and I'm, I can do some things. So it quite helped a lot, to be honest.
Fantastic. So then is it just you two guys on the record?
Yep. Okay. We do everything ourselves.
Okay. And then mixing, recording, mastering, how did that take place? How did that happen?
We record at home, and I mixed and mastered the album. So obviously the drums are a drum machine, but we're going to change that for next album, because a good friend of mine, he's a really good drummer. So, but yeah, we made everything ourselves at home.
Okay. Something you mentioned there was that one of your friends is a really good drummer. And I was recently chatting with a band that used a service, aside from a friend, that can play the drums, but used a service where they write out the drums, in the program, whatever it is that you use, Easy Drummer, Superior Drummer, Get Good Drums, whatever, write out the MIDI, send it to somebody, and they have a drum kit with a studio setup, and they're able to record the drums and send back the audio pieces, so that there's, I guess, maybe a bit more of a human feel. Why not take, I don't know, maybe another month to have your friend record the drums now on this record?
Well, basically it's because he's in two other bands. The other band that me and Matthias are in, and one of my bands. So at the time, we didn't really want to involve anybody else. We just wanted to make the music, the two of us, because it's the flow is different. It works out very well, and you don't have to rely on anybody else. Mm-hmm. And we never thought actually it would go this far, that we would make a record, get a record deal, get the album out. Everything has just come along the road, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay. So in Sweden, drummers are in multiple bands. Who knew? Now, how did Wormhole Death get involved in the picture? Did you guys start shopping around after you had the record? Because initially you said, let's just start working on this. Who knew it was going to go this far? Well, eventually at some point you had to, I don't know, shop around or say yes to Wormhole Death. So how did that happen? How did Wormhole get involved?
Well, it was pretty simple. We made I think it was 5 or 6 tracks. When they were basically done, I started to shop around a little bit just for fun to see if anybody wanted to pick it up. I mean, usually nowadays it seems like labels don't want to listen to a full album. Sometimes they just want a couple of songs just to get the feeling of everything. And so I just sent it, and I got a reply, and Carlo loved it, and he wanted to sign us.
Okay. Well, that sounds reasonable.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was just pure luck, I guess.
Well, I mean, traditionally, maybe I shouldn't spoil it, but traditionally, you'd end up in Italy eating gelato and pizza.
Yeah. As soon as we can travel.
Boom, baby. You'll be looking out the windows of that plane, which... remind me of the track Windows, which has an official lyric video. So for everybody out there listening or watching, go to today's show notes, www.therockandrollpodcast.ca, or if you're on YouTube, it'll be in the comments down below. The lyric video for Windows. Why this track to get the lyric video? Is this like the song that was the one that got you the record contract?
I think, to be honest, Carlos... One of his favorite tracks was Breathing the Darkness, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I really like Windows because it's very melodic. It's like the guitars from Matthias is very melodic. It has a nice melodic chorus that really sticks to my head, at least. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, it just felt like that was the song we wanted to show off.
Okay. And then Breathe the Darkness was the one that Carlo wanted to show off.
Well, not really, but I felt that it's quite different from Windows, so why not take two pretty different songs? Also, Matthias is the one that sings the entirety of Breathing the Darkness. Usually we share lyrics and vocal duties.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Why is that? Was he the only one capable of breathing the darkness?
Nah, I mean, we just figured that we take one song each as well. So we have one song each that we sing on individually, and the rest of them we share the vocal work. So we usually do first verse, second verse, and the chorus together, because we have quite different vocal styles. So we can just make it more dynamic, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, lyrically, I guess you mentioned you guys share the lyrics. So what are these two tracks about, and does that coincide to a theme for the album?
Yeah, I mean, we have a specific lyrical theme, and it's a little bit abstract. So, I mean, when you listen to it or when you read the lyrics, you might not really get what they mean, but always there is some meaning behind it that we both know, but people will interpret it. That's a hard word to say. Interpret it really differently. So Windows is more well, I just have to think about the lyrics for a second there because I almost forgot it already. Embarrassing, but hey, I gotta be honest.
Well, it's okay. And I mean, English isn't your first language, so I mean, you got to translate and then think about lyrics that you wrote. Did you actually? That's a good question. Do you write lyrics in Swedish and then translate them?
Oh, fuck no.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Am I allowed to swear? No. Well, we write everything in English. I mean, even my phone language and Windows is in English. So I mean, operating system, not the song. But it comes more natural.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting.
I must.
Is that just you, or is that a Swedish thing?
I think there's something obviously wrong with me, so I guess it's me.
Okay.
Well, anyway, Windows is it's just about the typical themes like misery and just cursing the existence of your life, not knowing where to go or what to do. It's like looking out the window and just longing for something that you can't get.
So, well, you live in Gothenburg, so this sounds correct.
It does, doesn't it?
As the rain hits the window pane and you wish for something else.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and it kind of, to be honest, it kind of fits with today. I mean, we are living in a pandemic right now, which none of us have ever noticed before. I mean, this is something entirely new, and the situation is so weird, not being able to travel or do anything. So it kind of, I mean, it fits without really, writing about it. It still fits the theme in a way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all the songs are new, so I mean, I guess maybe if you didn't have to write them about the pandemic, you, I guess, potentially could have. Is there any songs on the album that are specific to the pandemic?
No, not at all. But I think if we should draw a parallel, it's definitely like Windows. I mean, thinking about it now, it just makes sense. I mean, of course, it could be subconscious that we wrote something, and it if you think about it now, it really fits the theme.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, even Breathe the Darkness, if you think about that, it's a respiratory condition, disease, infection, right? And people who get it, people who get it have breathed in the darkness, I guess you could say.
Yeah, they are, and I mean, some are obviously dying from it. So yeah, you could also draw that parallel in terms of the title and lyrics for sure.
Wow.
But it's like I said, it's people will perceive it differently. It's like we see one thing when we wrote it, and you read something else into it.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned initially you had like 5 or 6 songs. Full album is 10 songs, and some labels aren't looking for a full album. So how do we end up with a full album? How do we end up with 10 songs through Wormhole?
Well, I mean, it's not like the label doesn't want a full album, but usually, from my own experience, is that you usually send like a couple of songs, and they listen to it, and they say, "Well, okay, we like your sound," and some don't have time to listen through a whole album before signing you. But I mean, we just kept going. It wasn't like, okay, we have 6 songs, let's send it. We had 6 songs. I sent it out, or if it was 5, and then we thought the magic number is 10. I don't know why. It's an even good number. So,
well, yeah, because the thing is, I guess you guys could have, and maybe this is more of a label decision, but especially in today's market, when touring is so uncertain, to promote an album, to instead come out with singles for the next, 3, 6, 9 months until the whole thing blows over, or release a couple of EPs, break it up. So I just found it an interesting decision to come out with an album.
Yeah, but I mean, I like albums. I prefer albums to singles myself, because I feel that you have an entire album to listen to. You got so much more to choose from. I understand the single concept because it keeps the listener's attention. Mm-hmm. But I mean, we didn't have a fan base before we started, obviously, because there was no material. So I mean, if we release a single, people wouldn't really notice it. If we release an album, we started promoting a few months ahead, and now people get the album, and then for the next release, maybe we'll do a couple of singles before, maybe we'll do an EP. It makes much more sense to me, at least.
Yeah.
If it was a more known band or a more established band, singles would probably be a more, better approach.
Mm-hmm. Something you mentioned there was that you didn't have a fan base before coming out, and I mean, how many bands don't have a fan base before they come out? Or how many bands have been going for years and don't really have much of a fan base, or know their fan base, or their fan base keeps changing? So that's a really interesting question. Do you have a fan base now?
That's a good question. I'm not really sure. Do we? Yeah, we probably have maybe a few, but to be honest, I haven't really thought about it that much. To be honest, so much stuff going on. It's like we just released the album Friday, and it always takes some time before people notice it. And we got a few. A few responses from it. So I guess we have some fans now.
Okay. Somebody out there right now is getting a Carnage Alpha tattoo.
That would be pretty awesome.
Oh, man. Like, man, this band just started in May and you got a tattoo that lasts the rest of your life. That's fantastic.
Well, there's always somebody who likes to do something crazy, right? Mm-hmm. You only live once.
Mm-hmm. This is very true. So then I guess, realistically then, you guys haven't rehearsed these songs or thing. I've heard things are pretty lax in Sweden as far as restrictions are concerned. So,
well, both yes and no. They have actually made some more strict rules now, just the last month, to be honest. So things are lax, but not, they still don't want people to like meet or such. So,
okay. So have you guys had the chance to come together and actually rehearse these songs, or is this kind of only existed in a lab?
This is just a crazy experiment. So we haven't actually met in real life either.
What?
It's true.
Wow. Okay. What's that like working with somebody remotely from different ends of the country that you've never met before and creating music that's been signed to a label? You're being interviewed for an album that's just been released. And this is not something that would have been possible if this pandemic had happened even 10 years ago.
Well, I've been making music with people like all over the world for the last 10 years. So, for me, it's not weird to make music with people from different side of the country or the world even. With today's technologically advances and what you can actually do at home with good equipment, it makes things so much simpler and so easy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. Now, these 10 tracks you guys put together, is there a rhyme to the reason for calling the album From There to Oblivion? Is there something that connects the tracks? I know you mentioned that some of the lyrics are done two different people. There necessarily isn't a concept album, but where did the title From There to Oblivion come from, and what maybe brought these 10 songs onto the album? I'm sure you guys wrote 1,000 songs, and you had to choose the 10 out of, I don't know, maybe 25, 30.
Actually, no. We just made 10. We made 10 songs, and we thought that all of them were good enough for the album. So we haven't made a shitload of songs and just thrown them away because it doesn't work like that. Well, I don't like to throw stuff away. But anyway, for the title, I wanted it to be From Here to Oblivion. Mm-hmm. But Matthias said, no, let's call it From There to Oblivion. And I'm like, okay, it's a bit weird, but fine, let's go with it. So it's basically it's just, I don't know what he was thinking, to be honest, but I liked it. So
yeah. Well, I mean, from a translation standpoint, I don't know. As a native English speaker, I'm thinking, okay, well, from where I'm standing here to Oblivion, whatever the heck Oblivion is, I'm imagining some void of space, I guess, somewhere going into that void of space. And then From There to Oblivion is like, aha, it's not me, it's over there. And so
well, exactly.
I've got to go walk over there first, and then I can get into Oblivion.
I know, and that's why I think it's such a funny title, but it works, and the whole idea with the artwork and the space of everything, you get that kind of gloomy doomness, from everything, and I think that's our whole point. It's like what are they called? Scar Symmetry also has this weird like space abstract thing to their latest albums, and we also like that kind of weird abstract thing, but still there are things that are relatable, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, groovy. Now, I think that pretty much concludes all of my questions. The only thing that I would want to know is, since there's no room for touring on the album, are you guys working on the next body of work, whatever that is, EP, album?
Yeah, we actually started making a song like last week. I'm trying to, you know, trying to fix some small things that, you know, we always hear after the work is done. You always feel like, oh, you should fix this or change that or blah blah blah. So now we're basically just setting up the base for the next whatever release it will be. So we'll see how that turns out.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Okay, is there anything that I missed that you wanted to chat about, Freddie?
No, I think you pretty much got everything.
Okay. All right. Beautiful. Well then, thank you so much for coming on to the Rock Metal Podcast today, Freddie.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.